Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. My name is Dale Hill, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. My husband, Jonathan, and I signed the membership book about 3 years ago after being a member of a Maryland UU church since 1996. Here, I am a member of the choir and the services committee. And John and I attend Music at the Ridge and Movies with the Message whenever we can. Please silence your phones if you haven't already done so. This morning, we continue our month of exploring the theme of belonging and welcome 2 new members. Always a joy. Our minister, Reverend Tony Lorenzen, reflects on the importance of belonging to active civic groups. You may arrive this morning tired or upbeat and buoyant. You may arrive this morning unsure and unsteady. But however you're feeling this morning, there is a place for you here. And together we will make this morning a celebration of community, support, friendship, kindness, and inspiration. You're invited to laugh and cry and share and be silent as you need to be. As we gather this morning, we respectfully acknowledge that our physical building is on the traditional land of the Poughkeepsie people. Before we get started, I invite you to greet your neighbors either here or online. I think we have a volunteer for the chimes. And there are a number of announcements this morning, most of them in the order of service, but some additional ones. First, the membership team invites all to the Membership and Involvement Fair after this service. It'll be here in the fellowship hall. Please explore where you can help our congregation and learn about what others are doing. In particular, the Sunday services team is actively looking for people to help run our technology on Sunday mornings. If we do not have more volunteers, there may be Sundays without a Zoom option or multimedia on the screen, and that would be a shame. Please speak to Reverend Tony if you can help out. Other important timely announcements in the order of service about a new book discussion group and Reverend Tony's new schedule, which you might want to cut out and tape on your wall or bulletin board. Next week's speaker is from Connecticut Students for a Dream. Other coming events are in the weekly email newsletter and the events calendar on our website, uudanbury.org. Now, Todd Zacharek would like to speak about the early results of the supplemental pledge campaign.
I have some numbers to share with you about the supplemental pledge drive, and I want to say thank you. I don't want to forget to say that. We are, in fact, off to a great start. As of last Thursday, the numbers as of last Thursday, the cumulative pledges from the members of the Board of Trustees are $2,280. The cumulative pledges from other members of the congregation now total $4,320. Remember, we've got a $5,000 matching fund from an anonymous donor. I don't know who that is. Whoever it is, thank you. That is incredibly generous. That matching fund will apply to the congregational pledges other than from the Board of Trustees. So at this point, we've qualified for $4,320 of that matching fund. So anyway, this is a great start. And, you know, altogether that totals $10,904 so far, including the matching funds for which we have qualified, or the portion of the matching funds for which we have qualified. So thank you. Now, of course, we don't intend to stop once we've reached that $5,000 match, because we've got a deficit larger than that. But with this, I'm sorry. The goal would be to fill the entire gap, which is projected to be 30,000 for the year. We will do as much as we can with the supplemental pledge drive, but then we're also counting on, you know, a robust set of bidders at the auction, and then a reasonable control of our expenses for the rest of the year. I'm confident we can do this. I mean, people have been so generous, and I have no doubt, and I'm very appreciative. If you haven't had a chance yet, please consider making a supplemental pledge. Now, not everyone will be able to do that, and we understand that. You know, we don't want anybody to pledge more than they feel like they can. It's entirely up to you, and whatever you give is very much appreciated. And if you're already giving as much as you can, great. You don't have to give any more. But if you can give a little bit more, we would really, really appreciate it. You can email your supplemental pledge to pledge@uudanbury.org. And I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Todd. And now we have an announcement from Randy Becker about a special service coming up, or special program coming up.
I'm Randy Becker. I welcome any and all pronouns, whatever. I am moderator of this congregation, and that means I run congregational meetings and announce them. And one of the things we need to remember as a UU congregation, just as Todd has said, nobody sends us money to exist. We exist on our own resources. And no one decides for us what we do. We do by our own votes. The Board of Trustees of the congregation has voted for a special congregational meeting at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday, October 5th, right here, to deal with a single topic of business, that being a resolution about the genocide in Palestine. The call for the meeting is up on the bulletin board out there. You probably received a copy of it in the email last night. Special thanks to Sherry for getting that out in such a timely manner. There will be options for absentee ballots. We will also be operating on Zoom, but we hope as many of you as possible can be here to engage in this important topic. Thank you.
We make this time and this place holy simply by being together with each other. And we begin by lighting the flaming chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. Please join me in reciting the words to our chalice lighting affirmation. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another and celebrate life. Now please rise in body and or spirit and join in singing our hymn of welcome, Come and Journey with Me. The words are in the order of service and up here as well.
Come to the song, come to the dance, bring all you are and all you can. Come with your voice, come with your heart, come and journey with me. Come and journey with me. To look around, love
Please be seated. I'm Reverend Tony Lorenzen. My pronouns are he, him. And our Director of Family Ministry, Reverend Sierra Marie, is not here this morning. So please join me as we do our children's affirmation. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We care for the earth and each other. A tale of two villagers. Once upon a time, nestled in a valley between rolling hills, lived two villagers, Alara and Finn. Alara lived in a small, close-knit community where everyone really knew each other well, and they shared with each other the bounties of their gardens and the warmth of their hearths, and they shared meals together and had lots of events together in the village. Finn, however, was very new to the village, a newcomer, and had arrived really hoping for, seeking, really wanting a place that could be home. And one day, shortly after Finn arrived, the village decided to create a great tapestry to represent their community, almost like the one we have here, so they could hang it up and let it represent the community of the village. And each villager contributed a thread of their own, material of their own, to its colorful and intricate design. Ilara was one of the most respected weavers in the village. And when Finn approached with a very plain, very ordinary, uncolored thread, Ilara was a little hesitant. And the village elder saw this and, full of compassion, noticed Ilara's hesitation and said to her, Ilara, the strength of the community and the strength of the tapestry lies not in the brightness or fancy quality of each thread, but in the way we weave them together. Every thread, no matter how simple or how plain, is welcome and contributes to the whole. As we widen our circle, we strengthen our bond, we strengthen our community. And inspired by those words, Ilara welcomed Finn and Finn's thread and helped Finn weave it into the tapestry and placed it beside a brilliant red thread and a shining, slivery, golden, brilliant, luminous thread. And the tapestry grew, and the villagers saw how Finn's simple thread, when woven in with those others, added some depth and texture to the entire tapestry and made the entire thing more beautiful as a whole. Finn, feeling included and valued, shared the knowledge that they had of growing things and cultivating herbs and keeping gardens, helping to make the village's gardens even more productive and bountiful, and bringing new flavors to their meals and new foods and herbs to their garden. What I love about this story is how the villagers finally saw Finn's thread, not as something strange or not good enough, but as something that was needed to make their community all it could be. Sometimes it can be hard to make room for everybody else, to make sure there's a place for everyone to belong, especially if someone seems different or new and we don't know them. So as we head into the rest of the service and we head down to our religious education program this morning, let's all remember, all of us, that the true strength and richness of a community comes from welcoming everyone, helping everyone to belong, and creating a more diverse, inclusive, and beautiful tapestry. As the children leave to our program, I think Ann has volunteered to lead them out. Is Ann with us? Ann, over here, we'll lead you out. We're going to need somebody to help us gather up all the food for Dorothy Day if you've brought some. And is someone going to volunteer to take the lantern downstairs? Somebody want to carry the lantern down? It's okay. Come on. Here we go.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning. It's always a great day when a congregation welcomes new members. This morning, we welcome 2 new members to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. I'm Lisa Horton, the current chair of the membership committee, and it's my honor to introduce you to our new members. And as I call their names, they will come up and join us for the ceremony. If
Come
you
on
could
up
just
front.
come up to
Right here.
right here. Randy and Catherine Balmer.
Randy and Catherine, my name is Annie Chanel. I'm the Vice President of the Board. As a member of the Board of UUCD, it's an honor and a privilege to welcome you as new members into our covenant of shared ministry. Do you promise to walk together with us in the spirit of love and service? And do you promise to dedicate your own particular gifts and ministry to our mission? Now I have a question for the congregation. Members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury, please rise. If you agree, please respond to the following question with "We do." Do you all welcome these new members into our covenant of shared ministry, and do you promise to reach out to them in friendship and include them in our shared ministry, each according to their unique gifts and perspectives? We do. And now I have a charge to the new members. Joining UU Danbury is only one step in a lifelong journey of learning and spiritual growth. This congregation is a shared endeavor. Each of us has a crucial role to play. We need you. We need your energy and your ideas. We need your hope and your inspiration. I invite you to grow with the Unitarian Universalist faith. More importantly, I invite you to find and share your special gifts with this congregation and with the world.
Unitarian, I think they can sit.
Just sit down.
You can sit. Unitarian Universalist congregations, we trace our history and our traditions back to the early Puritan churches in New England. Those Puritans came here to start churches and were governed by their members, not by a bishop or any other person outside of their community. When they started a congregation, they wrote a covenant and they signed their names to it. When new members joined, they too would sign the covenant. You've come on a personal journey. You've gotten to know the congregations. You've contemplated the responsibilities and benefits of being members and decided to journey with us. Therefore, we're thrilled that you formally signed your names to the membership book last June to signify and record for any who may question that you consider yourself to be a member of this congregation and a partner in our shared congregational life. But we wanted to wait for Rev. Tony to introduce you to everybody.
Hooray! Oh, welcome to the congregation. And I would like to have a little ritual of welcoming to you, a laying on of hands and blessing. Because in our tradition, because we are democratically run, congregationally based, when someone enters the ministry, they are ordained not by bishops or some council, but by the members of the congregation. And James Luther Adams called this the priesthood and prophethood of all believers. All members are really the ministers of a church. So when we welcome new members, what I like to do is that laying on of hands ritual, because it symbolizes that you too are part of the membership and the ministry of all the work we do here. So I'm going to invite everyone to do a laying on of hands, which is an ancient form of welcome and blessing and thanksgiving. And if you feel so comfortable, you can come up, and people who might be close can just touch a shoulder. And if you want to get closer and you can't get that close, you can touch a shoulder or somebody who's touching a shoulder, or you could just extend hands and blessing, whatever works for you. I invite those of you who'd like to participate in that to come on up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are.
Randy and Catherine, these hands are Unitarian Universalist hands. They are the hands of the members and friends of the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Danbury. These are the hands that make real our presence in the world as a faith community. These hands work hard. They raise children, they play, they make music, they build, they manage projects, they cook dinner, they hold signs of protest, and they hold loved ones close, and now they hold you. The hands that are reached out in blessing to you, they say welcome. They say we are yours and you are ours, and if you want, this can be home. You can rest here and be at peace and know love, so you can transform your lives and be creators of the beloved community in the wider world. And may each one of us, partners in a covenant of shared ministry, be blessings to one another and the world around us. Amen. Welcome.
Welcome.
After that wonderful welcome, I invite us to gather ourselves a moment and be present to ourselves in the room and the community, to breathe, let yourself be centered here, and to let the silence of this community speak to you for a moment. Spirit of life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of joy.
The reading today is an excerpt from The Indispensable Discipline of Social Responsibility by James Luther Adams. Immediately after the Second World War, the German theologian Karl Barth made a speaking tour of Germany, and in his talks, he stressed the idea that every German citizen should now participate actively in voluntary associations committed to the task of making democracy work. He pointed to a characteristic feature of every democratic society, namely the freedom of association. Every totalitarian theory rejects this freedom. Indeed, the rejection of freedom of association, the rejection of the freedom to form groups that attempt democratically to affect public policy, can serve as the beginning of a definition of totalitarianism. And now it's time for the offering. When you give your time and energy to the work of this congregation, and when you donate to its financial support, you are giving gifts to each other. Each one gives and receives gifts from all our members and friends. Together, we give to the community around us. The link for donating online is in the chat, and the many ways you can give are on the screen. Thank you for your generosity.
I am light, I am light. 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 I am not the things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. I am light, 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 I am light. I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. I am light, I am light. I am light. I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. I am light, I am 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 light.
Our theme for this month is belonging. And right now, in our historical moment in our country, I firmly believe that belonging is a moral obligation. It's a civic duty. And for Unitarian Universalists, it's also a religious duty and obligation. I believe belonging is so crucial because it is only in community with others that we can create a worthwhile society that fosters full inclusion, full participation by everyone. And because doing this actively works against and defeats the growing environment of political dehumanization that, if left unchecked, will lead to atrocities. Belonging is a tactic and a tool for defeating the growing shadow of fascism in our country. Belonging. I don't think it means what we tend to think it means, and I love Brené Brown's definition from her research. And she says, belonging is the innate human desire to be part of something larger than ourselves, which requires us to be present to our authentic selves and present our authentic selves rather than merely fitting in. True belonging happens when we fully accept ourselves as we are and connect with others without sacrificing who we are and allowing them to do the same. She says fitting in, and I think this is what we usually think of as belonging. Fitting in is just getting along with everything, feeling an affinity. It's the greatest barrier to belonging. Fitting in, she says, I've discovered during the past decade of my research, is assessing situations and groups of people and twisting yourself into a human pretzel in order to let you hang out with them so you'll be accepted. Belonging is something else entirely. It's showing up and letting yourself be seen and known as you really are. It takes a lot of risk and vulnerability to do that. And she says, as it turns out, men and women who have the deepest sense of true belonging are the people who also have the courage to stand alone when called to do that. They are willing to maintain their integrity and risk deconnection in order to stand up for what they believe in. This definition of belonging is one that can create and sustain inclusive, diverse, compassionate, participatory communities. And this type of community, the belonging-based community, is essential for healthy, vital, and democratically governed systems, be they congregations or governments. Unitarian Universalist theologian James Luther Adams argued that voluntary associations, groups we belong to freely, help sustain and maintain democracy in a larger society. In his essay, The Indispensable Discipline of Social Responsibility, which we heard in our reading this morning, Adams makes a strong case for the moral necessity, the moral obligation of belonging to voluntary associations that work for democratic norms and the common good. Belonging to voluntary associations is a basic, fundamental human right. It is enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights from the United Nations in 1948. It's Article 20, as a matter of fact, which says everyone has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. No one may be compelled to belong to an association. Freedom of association is intimately tied to the freedoms of thought, speech, conscience, and religion, the right to vote, to participate in democracy, and enjoy social security, health, education, work, leisure, all human rights which are outlined in the Universal Declaration, the articles immediately before and after the one on voluntary associations. They're all connected. And in this morning's reading, Adams is clear that he says every totalitarian theory rejects this freedom of association. Indeed, the rejection of freedom of association, the rejection of freedom to form groups that attempt democratically to affect public policy, can serve as actually the beginning of the definition of totalitarianism. And Adams admitted there are different types of voluntary associations. One he characterized as more a special interest group. And when we form voluntary associations, we do tend to group ourselves, all humans do, into groups of like-minded or similar types of people. In and of itself, nothing wrong with that. And the other type of association, he said, is a general welfare association that's concerned with the general good and welfare of the entire society, its health and well-being. You know, my neighbor belongs to the Lions, for example. And they do a lot of things that have become a real part of my community's character. You know, they run a hayride in the fall at Halloween. They put up luminaries with candles all along the main street during the holiday season from Thanksgiving to New Year. It's really pretty. They do cookouts, 4th of July fireworks, all awesome events, all have a part in defining the character of where I live in Woodbury. All great stuff, but nothing that specifically or intentionally does a lot of work to ensure, promote the common good. Nothing wrong with it, good stuff nonetheless, and important in many ways. I'm in the process myself of joining the Club União Portuguesa in Naugatuck, which is a social club for people of Portuguese heritage. My wife says it's going to be my old man club. And I don't think she's wrong. I can totally see myself wearing my hat and a stained white t-shirt, grilling sardines. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely great stuff. But again, nothing that's by its mission and design geared to affect the public life. A great thing nonetheless, and a vibrant society needs these groups, you know, but it's not a general welfare oriented group. And one thing Adams, I don't think fully comprehended about what he called special interest groups is that they have a value that is also really important for the general welfare sometimes. For example, it's good to have specific places, special interest places, especially for marginalized groups. Black only, women only, Muslim only, queer only spaces and associations are at the same time special interest groups, but they're also general welfare groups because they help and sustain those communities that need connection with each other, because unless all are free, none of us are free. And Adams says the voluntary general welfare associations are a requirement of a functioning democracy. He spent time in Germany in the mid-1930s, and he watched in person the Nazis rise to power there. And obviously, it had an enormous effect on his theology the rest of his life. And he always insisted that the church, and you can read that as the faith community, whatever your religion, right? The religious community had to be discussed always in both theological, religious, and sociological terms. I would put it this way, that there really is no such thing as an apolitical religion, nor can there be or should be. Because if your religious values are about anything really valuable, they're concerned with the common good and treating everybody decently. And if you divorce yourself from that to be apolitical, that is the epitome of privilege, to not have to be connected to those types of decisions and removed from them. So I think religion is by its nature, with Adams, a political phenomenon. It has to be. And he says, any worthwhile religious community is concerned with the common good. My colleague, the Reverend Nancy McDonald Ladd, writes in a paper she wrote about Adams that Adams made was at the time a radical theological claim that religious identity is both formed and expressed in collective action rather than individual truth or private devotion. She writes, Adams reminded us that we were called to engage not just in voluntary associations, but radical voluntary associations, one whose greater ends pointed toward the eschaton, the end, beyond everything we have come to know as normal. By radical voluntary association, he meant the League of Women Voters, the Neighborhood Association, the PTA, the Broad-Based Community Organization, Greater Danbury Unites for Immigrants, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. He says, the mission of the church, the faith community, pointed outward beyond itself and toward the continual reshaping of the world outside its doors is its vital mission. In this way, the radical voluntary associations Adam spoke of are the ones that committed themselves to different ends, more important ends than just debate societies or social clubs. And she says his wisdom in this is evergreen. It is as necessary in these days as it has ever been. And as I think of it, James Luther Adams says that work as a radical voluntary association involved in the social and political life of society is what makes the faith community sacred and holy. My colleague Gary Dorian writes that Adams insisted liberal religion is always about a life-giving community, not about an individual's personal spirituality. And because of that, it must take place within one. A faith community, he says, that creates no community of faith is merely a protection against having faith at all. Brene Brown hadn't been born yet when Adams published The Indispensable Discipline of Social Responsibility. But his ideas about radical voluntary associations dovetail beautifully with her definition of belonging. I think the ability to engage and generate and create genuine belonging is a defining characteristic of what Adams would call a radical voluntary association, a general welfare organization, especially a faith community. One of the reasons that totalitarian regimes and dictators hate voluntary organizations is that voluntary organizations have an outstanding ability to create real belonging based on authentic, inclusive relationships. And this type of belonging humanizes people. It makes someone else more like you. You see them as a total person, the way you know yourself to be a total person. And when someone is seen to be as like yourself as a human being, it is much more difficult to intentionally hurt, harm, and kill them. Humanizing people works against totalitarianism's most powerful weapon, the dehumanizing, scapegoating of groups to create a sense of unity and power and belonging among an identity base. And we see this play out right now. MAGA is powerful because it pretends to be offering people belonging to an in-group with power. But it's not about belonging. It's just about fitting in. To adopt what the leader says is so, to go along with everyone else's opinion, to be just like that other person in the group. Social media gives a false sense of belonging, and its logarithms emphasize fitting in, being a member of a team, a side. But it doesn't generate debate or conversation. It's not a place where it's safe to be vulnerable or be accepted as you really are, imperfections and all. Brene Brown calls it common enemy intimacy, where you are drawn together mostly in agreement about what you dislike. It's just about fitting in. And the chief measure of fitting in is that you are not the other. You're one of us, not one of them. The Nazis' term for it was getting in line. Kind of like the way we want ABC to now get in line. Belonging confers social acceptance and equalizes us and radically humanizes us. It has us include others for who they are, just as they really are. Othering requires the monsterization of the other. They have a nature that isn't really quite human. It's monstrous, dangerous, intrinsically repellent. Vermin, roaches, rats, snakes, serpents. In order for human beings to treat other human beings as non-human and less than human, we have to overcome an evolutionarily based instinctual bias to recognize our own kind and treat them with compassion. And to do that, we have to make the other person not a person. And this can be done in all kinds of ways. Black people in America looked physically like humans. Native peoples looked like people. Jewish people in Nazi Germany looked like people, but they were not. Blacks and Indians and Jews, now immigrants and Palestinians and trans people look like people, but they're not. They have some kind of essence, something about them that's obviously different, obviously inferior. There's a group called polygeneticists that believe that different groups of humans actually evolve differently and independently. Talk about the mental gymnastics you need to make someone not human like you are. Wow. Others might appear outwardly human, but if you're going to dehumanize them, you have to prove one way or another, as reasonable or unreasonable as that is, that they're not. In his book, Less Human, Why We Demean, Enslave, and Exterminate Each Other, David Livingston Smith writes, everywhere and in all times and places, there has been slavery, genocide, and atrocities. The others are dehumanized and characterized as vermin, rats, serpents, snakes, insects, and monkeys. This has always been true of slavery wherever it happens in any time and culture. Harvard sociologist Orlando Patterson said the defining characteristic of slavery is social death. You have no social recognition. You're a non-person. You're a thing, an animal. Rat, vermin, serpent, dragon, monkey, beast. Native peoples have been called these things and are called these things still by colonizers all over the world. The Ottoman Empire spoke of the Armenians this way. The Nazis called the Jews these things. The Khmer Rouge referred to the Chinese and Vietnamese and other ethnic minorities this way. In Rwanda, the Hutus referred to these terms of the Tutsis. Putin speaks of Ukrainians this way. Netanyahu speaks of Palestinians this way. Trump speaks of people of color and trans people and immigrants this way. It leads to atrocity. And increasingly, we hear the rhetoric, of talking about people who just disagree with the administration in these terms. David Livingston Smith says, demoting a population to subhuman status excludes them from the universe of moral obligation. Dehumanizing others promotes moral disengagement. It's not wrong to hurt, torture, and kill members of that group because they're not actually human. And because of all that stuff, this is why belonging is so vital and such an important weapon at our disposal. Belonging is the antidote to dehumanization. It is an emergent process that has as a core function humanizing the other with whom you're in relationship. Because it means being vulnerable, risking, being yourself, and letting others do the same. And that will lead to difficulties and problems and arguments. But with belonging, the goal is the coming together, agreeing to get to the point where we resolve those, and the acceptance widens and grows and deepens. It's the exact opposite of getting in line and fitting in. Going along to get along, not making waves. Being involved in civic organizations for the explicit mission of making politics and citizenship about belonging is vital. Radical associations offer the opportunity for belonging and seek to influence the larger society through democratic means to also create that belonging and seek that belonging as a goal, to make we the people include all people, to make sure promoting the general welfare means promoting it for everyone. Adams begins his essay in the reading today by noting that in Germany, associations that didn't bow to Nazi ideology were one by one closed down. Funding removed from universities, professors fired for teaching certain ideas, people removed from public roles in public life for being one of them. The levers of money and power move the fitting in ideology of who we are opposed to them at the center of life. They want to make being opposed to this group the center of everything. And we're going to attempt to exterminate that opposition. In order to fight against belonging, the authoritarian makes it difficult to participate in organizations such as civic groups and congregations that work for freedom. They say the world is run by those who show up. And if you want to run the world, all you got to do is control who can and can't show up. Make work hours long and vacation rare. Make wages low and restrict access to resources. Make the general welfare, things like education and healthcare and housing, a privilege, not a human right. Make sure that entertainment and propaganda is geared towards making everyone fit in and toe the line. We're seeing this play out in real time, my friends. But we have belonging as an important essence of who we are as a people of covenant. And we need to dive into that work of creating belonging and exercising it and opening up to as many people as possible, because it's a way we fight back against all this that's going on. You may not be thinking of it this way right now, but the committee fair that's going to happen in a few moments, that's a way to fight back against the dehumanizing stuff we see going on in our culture. Getting involved in a group such as ours or Greater Danbury Unites for Immigrants or some similar activist group, your involvement at whatever level you can be involved at, whatever you can do, helps the greater cause of belonging and the common good humanize everyone instead of dehumanize everyone. And you may not be thinking of it in that powerful a way, but realize that when people are asking you to think about how you're involved in the congregation, it's not just, oh, some little thing I agreed to do at my social club. It's actually part of the vital reason why a place like this exists, to generate humanizing community that fights all the things that would darken it. It is a way to resist. It is a way to fight back. It is a way to create the world we know we should have, not the one we're having to deal with right now. Like the villagers in this morning's story, we weave not only a tapestry, but a society and a culture of unity and diversity and beauty when we seek and practice belonging. It's a civic, religious, and moral duty. Join me in practicing it.
Now, please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. Okay, please rise in body and or spirit and join in singing our hymn of celebration. Come and go with me. It's number 1018 in the teal hymnal, and the words are also on the screen.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There will be freedom in that land. There will be freedom in that land. There will be freedom in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There will be freedom in that land. There will be freedom in that land. There will be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There will be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There will be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land where I'm bound. There will be singing in that land. There will be singing in that land. There will be singing in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There will be singing in that land. There will be singing in that land. There will be singing in that land where I'm bound.
My friends, our service is over and we return to serve our UU values in the world. Let us reconnect to the great radical voluntary associations in our lives, especially this congregation, and work with them to increase authentic acceptance and belonging among all people. When you leave here today, go with peace in your heart.